Well, hello, welcome, good evening. Oh, we have an exciting guest tonight, but I think you know I get excited about every guest. That's just the way it is. That's me, Susan Mintz, Susan Lee Mintz, and welcome to Positively Positive, where your stories matter about HIV, your organizations, and we want to promote anything you are doing anywhere, whether it's local in our county, South Florida, or beyond. If you have any interest in HIV and AIDS and we can promote you, talk about your organization and talk about what you're doing to impact people with HIV and AIDS, this is the place for you. Tonight, we have an amazing returning guest. Oh, I even love her name. It's wonderful, but I can't say the name till I have my glasses off. She is going to fill you in on an awful lot of important things that are going on in Palm Beach County. So without further ado, she's going to have the whole thing to herself. I'm going to take off my glasses. Didn't put a lot of makeup on today. And I'm going to say, come on in, Dr. Daisy Krakowiak Wiebe.
Hello. So good to see you again.
And there she is. Voila. Hi, dear. It's wonderful to see you, as always. You got a beautiful face. So we're going to talk about the Ryan White program. You're going to tell me about it. And also resources in Palm Beach County. And at the end, we'll do something else. So why don't you start off with whatever you want. And welcome to Positively Positive, the second year.
Great. Hello again. Hello, everybody watching. Well, I wanted to take time to talk about the program that I work for. It's the Ryan White program. It's not just a Palm Beach County thing, it's nationwide. I wanted to spend a little time talking about a little bit of the history of it, but also just what it is, because we're finding, it's great that we're finding people who may have lost like health insurance coverage. Maybe they were diagnosed with HIV and they had a job with insurance or had insurance through some way, right? And then that they don't have that coverage anymore, and they don't know that there's a program called the Ryan White program. So there's still a gap in knowledge. People who are involved in like maybe the HIV community or have obviously been in, like maybe they tested in a Ryan White clinic, will have gotten linked really, seamlessly. But there are people who still don't know about the program. So I wanted, in case this reaches anybody that didn't know, and maybe they've had insurance, they have HIV, they haven't thought about, well, what would happen if I don't have my, employer-based insurance? What would I do? So I wanted to spend a little time about that.
That's great. Over the last year and a half, we have had a couple of guests on who have been involved with the Ryan White. They have been clients, and they've talked about how wonderful it is. And we had one from, I think it was California, or there was someone from Vegas, but we have had those on. So it wasn't that I just meant Palm Beach. You're from Palm Beach. You live in Palm Beach. But no, Ryan White's all over the country, thank God. He was from Texas, the one who's on, and he talked a lot about it, and another one from the West Coast. So tell me how it started, or tell me what you want to talk about with it.
Well, I guess for me, since I've been on the show last year, kind of an update is that I was able to go to the Ryan White National Conference in August. I got to present posters and oral presentation on the work we're doing. It was great to see people in person again. It had been a virtual conference since I've been a part of the Ryan White program. And it happens every 2 years. So finally we were able to, come together in Washington and meet people we had only met, virtually, and even meet Ryan White's mother, who got to share her son's story. Ryan White is the name of a individual, as you would assume, with the name Ryan White, who really inspired Congress to act and pass legislation to help care for people with HIV And once medication got better, then started providing that care for people around the U.S. So that was very inspiring to
Isn't that
hear.
wonderful?
Yes, yeah, because I had watched the movies and the documentary and interviews, and it's all on your screen, and I know where it's on screen too, and it can be powerful that way, but it was really meaningful to be able to be in a room full of people listening to her speak, and you could tell like her bringing her son's energy to the room, and they of course had clips and everything, but you could tell like his spirit, his energy was certainly present.
She must be so proud of look what her little boy did.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people know the story of Ryan White. Just like a brief kind of overview. He contracted HIV. He was a young teenager, and he at the time, in the 80s, where it's brand new, people were still learning, well, how can this get transmitted, or what is this? What is it caused by? And was kicked out of school because people were afraid. And then he ended up, getting hate mail and a lot of nasty stuff. And then they were able to move to a different town, and they were very different, very accepting, and they did education. They knew, of course, like, how it spreads, and
such ignorance back then, but it was fear, just fear.
Yeah.
Like with any pandemic, they didn't know that much. So all these things were going in people's heads.
Yeah.
When you don't know something, you get fearful and you listen to everybody, and it's scary. It was very frightening in the 80s. That's when I was more involved with it that way. And it's true. It was very frightening, but look what a little boy could do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what's so exciting. So how was the conference? Tell us more.
Well, there was a lot of great, I know I'm going back to the word energy, but like, it was just palpable. Like, people were excited to be able to share like the new things we were doing, whether it was like injectables or rapid ART start in emergency rooms, or using mobile health platforms like we are, in Palm Beach County. Like, so lots of different interventions. And it was great to, network and share, and it was really, really great. And from that, we're able to be kind of inspired to write for our grants. We had our grant applications due right at the same time. It was a very busy time. So we were writing for our grant applications for the Ryan White program all over the country. We had the same deadline. So, but it also invigorated us to kind of like recommit to the mission and recommit to the work we're doing and the importance and the momentum that it has and the difference it makes in so many people's lives.
How is the funding? Have you seen any cuts in the funding, and is it even harder to apply for it? Because with every cuts that are being made to a lot of services, how do you think that's going to happen? What's going to go on?
Well, I can tell you right now, Ryan White is funded. Go to your doctor's appointments, go get your medications. We're running as we have been. So
that's great.
We have been received a partial notice of award, which is typical. Every year we get a partial notice of award because Congress operates on a continuing resolution. So that part isn't abnormal. That's something we've been used to. And then, April, May is when we learn what what our full amount is, but it's always been that way since I've, been with the program 6 years. So, there was, I think, public sentiment coming out when there was that freeze in domestic grant programs.
Yes.
Where there was a day where there was a question, okay, what's going to happen we're freezing funding. What does that mean? What is that going to look like? How are our portals being shut down? Can we access even like Medicaid? But there was such an outcry from all over about how many
Yeah.
things that impacted. And so not only did the injunction from the judge come down, the next day the memo was rescinded. So
That's wonderful.
yeah, so there was that, and I'm we have to, I think, keep advocating for, I think Dr. Messer, my boss, said, we're the administrators. We help. I work in quality improvement, but I'm also part of the, administrator for the grant. Like, it's really the community that, if they would like to see these, services continue, of course, like to show that it's important, right? But my hope is that because the Ryan White program has been passed with bipartisan support for over 30 years now,
Yes. It'll continue.
I find it hard to believe that it would go away. So
No.
even in these times. So
Does every state handle it differently than like Florida or a county, or how does this work though? If somebody in Texas, is the paperwork, is all the paperwork, what I'm saying, the same everywhere, or does it still go by state?
no, we all apply across the country to the federal funds at HRSA in DC. So Ryan White is federally funded. That goes for if you're in a Part A, if you're familiar with the parts. So Part A is like metropolitan areas that have like a higher burden of HIV get additional resources because they have more people living with HIV in those areas. And then a Part B is like a blanket across all states. There's this funding that gets implemented typically by health departments. And then the Part A funding is usually also health departments. But in Florida, we have county governments also involved. So I'm actually at the county government. The funding, the grant application is, it used to be annual and now it's every 3 years. And so we submitted this past fall for a 3-year award. So
how many people in Palm Beach County, how many people in Palm Beach County are on the Ryan White program?
So
I still never understood it all that well. That's why I like you to be on, because you talk about it and it helps me understand. You have to be HIV positive. You have to make a certain amount of money. I've never understood all of that until I speak with somebody like you.
Yeah, so it's we serve, like it's been around 3,000, but I think we're up to like 3,500 around this at this point. So, and that's so we serve like over half of persons with HIV in Palm Beach County.
Wow.
And that's just the Part A side. The Part B then has its own clients. So between the two of us, we serve the majority of persons with HIV. But yeah, the requirements is only that you have proof of HIV status, that you are a resident of Palm Beach County, and that you're below 400% of the federal poverty level, which is quite a bit of actually income. So many people do qualify.
I would think so.
Mm-hmm.
And can you have another insurance on top of it, or it's strictly once you apply for the Ryan White, that's it?
You can have insurance. So insurance doesn't cover. I mean, it's luckily insurance these days is required to cover many things. So when you have health insurance, it's great. We actually encourage people to have health insurance. We find ways to make sure they can access health insurance, even through our program, to get insurance. So we have also some supportive services like case management that can help navigate some of the complexities of getting, the additional resources that people might need. So I wouldn't say like, don't, I have insurance. I don't, I guess I can't, I don't qualify. It's not a disqualifying thing. It's if you have health insurance. So the only thing is that Ryan White is a payer of last resort. So if health insurance will cover something, the health insurance would be the payer. But if there's a gap or something they don't cover, like case management, then Ryan White would cover it.
And then, so if you're positive, then you have to have a doctor. Is there anything involved with the medical end of it other than you're HIV positive? Do you apply through the health department? And can you do it online, or you have to go in to a place?
So you can go to the health department. That's actually the part B. But I mean, I like to tell people, you know, wherever you are, you can Google Ryan White in your area, and you'll find the website of who's actually administering it, whether it's the health department or a county department or a municipality. And they would
Okay.
have a phone number to call, you know, directions on what to do next. So we have a phone number 1-833 PBC HIV1, which will
We'll put that up. What is it again?
1-833
Mm-hmm.
PBC HIV1. And that
Okay.
goes to a call center, and that will, you know, you go through the prompts and you can get to our registration clerk, and they can get you linked to our providers. So we fund 9 providers for the various medical and supportive services that we offer.
No, we'll put that number up on the screen for our viewers, because the other thing is, you know, we have viewers from all over the country. You know, it may not be tens of thousands, but we got a few hundred from all over the country. And that's why this is so important, because I would think not only if somebody's diagnosed, what a shock it could be, but then to go through paperwork. Where do you begin? What do you do? So I like to break things down real simply for people, because not everybody.
Yeah. So if you're in the US, you know, just Google Ryan White and put in your town or city, and you'll find who is administering it. So that's you know, you just have to remember the little activist's name to know it. And it's I think it's a pretty easy to remember name. And I mean, now it's fun, you know, we use the name, and we sometimes don't even think of it as a person's name, but it's the namesake of.
But that's good, just to have somebody on who says it's the Ryan White. Just click on, go to type in Google Ryan White, put in the city, put in your state, your city, your zip code if they want it, and there'll be some venue there that you can go in and apply or get help, because people aren't even computer literate. I mean, you have to have help. So do you personally help the people when you see them? Are you involved with that end of it?
Well, I am a kind of one step removed, but I do like to work with, we do have some direct service staff at our county offices. And one of the things we do is find individuals who are out of care to link them back into care. So when we talk about kind of the barriers to care that our case managers are encountering, you know, I get to hear the stories. We get to think of like, well, what would be a good strategy in this situation? We do have a peer, a person with lived experience that can also then assist and is also working to link people into care. And so I do get to hear stories, and that's actually sometimes, you know, I deal a lot with numbers and data and you know, how are our projects going? How's the data look? How are these programs flowing and running, and kind of administrative side of things, and even the quality improvement side of things. But then I like to spend time in the meetings talking about, okay, like,
Yes.
where are the clients? What are, you know, and then not just, sometimes we also focus in on like, okay, the issues that are arising, but I also like to ask for like you know, tell us like what's positive that's happened this week. And they'll say, oh, you know what, I found a client and we were able to link them to care. We got the medication. They were so grateful. Like, or, you know, when we got to them, they were actually pretty sick. And now that we got them to the, you know, and then this is over the course of several, you know, a couple months, like they're doing so much better. And so taking time in your day, not only if you're a provider, right? If you're a provider and you have case management staff and you case conference, and there's of course the issues you need attention to, but to spend time like celebrating the successes you have with your clients. But as a person, also spending your day, I think we probably spend too much of our time in negativity, especially in news cycles, and really kind of put a lot of energy into that space instead of like connecting to the things that did go well or are positives. And I mean, I'm thinking about the podcast name.
Yeah, well, we're going to post that phone number where people can get in touch with it. Just the health, just calling the health department also, but to get that specific number. My thing is, though, with any diagnosis, I don't care what it would be, that it could be a life-altering diagnosis. Not that you have a head cold, but if you had, then it would be a daunting task. And I think to have someone who's calm, knows what they're talking about, level-headed, and really cares, which is someone you do. I mean, you've got all your A's and B's and C's. I mean, there was nobody more I was impressed with everything you do than you. But I think then when you have someone like yourself, it's reassuring to a client that they are going to get the right help, the right resources, the right people to go to. I just think it's really important to have a personal touch in a day and age where everything is not. That's my whole issue. I said to someone today, if I could throw my phone in the toilet and flush it, I would. I hate it. I don't like any of this. It's not me. This is me, Daisy. I like the one-on-one with people. That's the way I grew up talking to people, and why this show for me is great and it works is because I love asking questions and having people talk to me. Do you find this part of your position, you find this very rewarding? And I would think you're on a high after that conference, the convention. Was this an annual convention that they had, or was it every couple of years?
It's every 2 years, but it hasn't been in person for ever since I started. So I think it was 6 years that it was, was it 2 times it was virtual. So, but anyway, yeah, but it's every 2 years. And then we submitted those applications. And then I was able, as an update too, make a quilt panel for the AIDS Memorial Quilt that I presented at our local LGBTQ community center for World AIDS Day, in honor of my friend. And I did it with my other friend, who's also from Ghana. And there were actually 4 people memorialized in the quilt. So it's a bigger panel. And so being able to do that was really, it was really more for me, I think, more therapeutic in kind of processing grief. And, but there's, power to stories as well. And if you haven't heard, the story, then I guess check out the first podcast I did, or video cast, whatever we're calling this. But yeah, that was something that really keeps motivating me as well.
Yeah, you were talking about it last year that you were making it for your good friend. It was in Africa, but where was it? Kenya or Nairobi? Where was it your friend that you were involved with?
Oh, in Ghana.
In Ghana, yeah. So you got it finished and added people on more yet? You made it even bigger?
Yeah, well, so a panel is, 6 foot by 3 feet. And I didn't think that really did it justice for the fabrics we had and the colors we had and the messages we wanted to put in it. And I was like, this isn't enough space. And I was collaborating with a friend from Ghana, and I wanted to, for the design and the symbols that we had on it, the Adinkra symbols, some of the language and culture, to it. So she had the fabric. I didn't have fabric. I was going to cut up my dresses that I had from Ghana, but she said, don't do that. Keep your dresses. She's like, I bring so much back, when she goes, visits and comes back. So she had this beautiful big, it was actually bed sheet, but, and I know that, that's kind of how even the AIDS Memorial Quilt kind of started, was with more of these sheets. But
that's
anyway,
wonderful.
we were able to get, we made a double-sized panel, but we had, she knew some individuals from Ghana, also from the same community.
And And making these panels, you said, could be very therapeutic because losing, as many people as we may have lost. Lord knows I lost a whole neighborhood in the 80s and then friends in the 90s. So it's very therapeutic doing something like that. It's very healing to see something tangible with their name and things they would have loved or symbols. So that was good for you, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
You've had a very good time in the last few years. In the last year, you've done a lot since I've spoken with you previously, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been busy. It's been a busy year.
And a productive year. So the other resource, some other highlight. What are some? So we know we're going to put the phone number again for the Ryan White, where they can find that information here. But tell me about other resources that you feel are really important for people now in Palm Beach County and beyond. What we need or what we're doing. What else are some things that are really burning in Daisy Wiebe's heart?
Well, I think I agree with you, Susan, that I think we all too often rely on just our connections, whether it's, on social media or just via virtual phone, whether it's a text. I mean, that can get you, keep you in touch or connected. But really, I think the resources around us really our friends, our family, your case manager, it doesn't have to be good, but your community, which includes, the service providers, Ryan White, but also your friends, your family, your community center, making sure you keep those connections strong. Because really, I think that's what life is about, right? I mean, we're not just, islands of people that really thrive just all on our own. So I would encourage everyone to think about spending more time with the people in your life, or going out on a limb and meeting new people, creating your neighborhood, your village, your support, right? Because that's what ultimately you have in your life, right? And so, knowing that you have people to lean on, and especially, I know you had a nod to what's, going on in our country, and making sure you don't isolate and keep.
Yes, it's very dangerous to isolate like that, and just also just depend on technology. We're supposed to communicate with each other, and that means to be with each other. I think this is so important, and it's been lost in many ways. So I just want to, I'm so grateful that you found some time to be with us from your very busy schedule as a wife, a mother, and as an activist with the Ryan White, with helping with the Ryan White Foundation, with helping people no matter where they are on their journey with HIV. You're always there. You show up at everything. You bring that sweet, calming voice and attitude, and it's a pleasure to be with you. And you'll be on next year again. Don't worry about that. You're coming on every year because we need to talk about this. And I just want to say thank you so much. Is there a personal email or anything we can reach you?
I think it'd be best if I give it to you and you can, put it
afterwards. On. Yeah. All right. So thank you for being on, and thank you all for watching. You can follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you can get social media. We are there at Campbell Health, and I'm Susan Mintz at Positively Positive, and we're always going to be committed to love. That's just the way it works here, folks. Committed to love and loving each other. So you give us a call, and we want you on. And thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.